right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the next episode of the Shootout Pro Wrestling. That's right, it's the spin-off show from the formerly Wrestling Shootout, and it's not going away. It's not going away. I'll be doing shows here every so often, once a month maybe, trying to interview some of the local talent of independent wrestling here in Georgia, the great peach state of Georgia. Yeah, it's my home, my state. Hey, I love Georgia, I love South Carolina. Hey, I love all the United States, man. It's my home country. I'm proud to defend it. And also proud to defend it is my co-host, the former, 7-time, 8-time, 9-time world champion.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my friend, my co-host, Christian Fury, former UCW and AWF and Tape Fist champion. Welcome back to the Shootout, brother. How you doing tonight, man?
Oh man, I'd lie to you and say I'm doing great, but we got a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like unanswered prayer requests would be in order. But we're going to try to move forward, and we're going to have fun with this podcast today.
Well, like I said, man, when we said in our first week show, we talked about CM Punk, big return to AEW. A lot of great things is going on with AEW and Christian Fury, if you don't mind. Well, before I get into that, I also want to talk about thank you personally for agreeing to take this journey with me. We're going to be talking about 30, 40, 50, 60, hell, probably even 100 years worth of professional wrestling. And not just pro wrestling, not just sports entertainment, but even some old school Greco-Roman wrestling, grappling wrestling. Hell, I'm looking forward to we get a chance to talk about George Hackett Smith and Frank Gotch and that big legendary belt. Because, hey, I am a wrestling historian, and I've got some big news coming up on how you yourself could be a wrestling historian. So stay tuned to Def Lot Productions and Wrestling Shootout and Shootout Pro Wrestling, and learn more details about that in the future. But right now, man, let's get right to it. Let's discuss this before we get into our main topic today. I saw it on Facebook, man. I saw it on the Dirt Sheet Radio. I've seen it on every pro wrestling Facebook fan group I'm part of. I just want to say, to the bottom of my heart, thank you to Martha Hart, and thank you to Tony Khan at AEW and the Owen Hart Foundation. Owen Hart is coming back to professional wrestling and all elite wrestling. Unbelievable. I mean, his merchandise, his action figure is going to be on a video game. His career and all his fans is going to be acknowledged by AEW. And Martha, thank you. We totally understand how you feel about the WWE. There's no reason for us to get into that again. But at the same time, we love you. We love your family. We love Owen. I named my youngest son, Jay, after Owen Hart. So you know what he meant to me in my career in wrestling. The Rocket Owen Hart, the king of hearts, if you would. But, man, are you excited as I am?
Oh, man, I shared that post. I saw it, man. That fired me up, man. History. Owen Hart finally gets the recognition that he so richly deserves, and his fans get a chance to really enjoy Owen Hart again.
And without a doubt, and Owen Hart, like I said, man, we miss you every day. We pray for his family every day. And, man, thank you, Martha Hart, for at least showing love and affection to Owen Hart's fans around the world, not just here in the United States, around the world. Owen has touched so many people around the world. Even to this day, it's been over 21 years since he had passed, unfortunately. I still remember that day in the month of May, the Kemper Arena, Kansas City. My cousin, John Michael Blanchard, he was there. He was in the arena when it happened, So it was, it was a tragedy, and and then we will cover Owen Hart, one day when we get to that journey. But right now, today, my friend, we sit there, we talk about.
Before we get into what we're going to discuss, brother, there's one more thing that I feel like we need to touch on real quick. It's going to be less than 2 minutes and some change. Right. If you catch my drift. You don't catch it?
Yeah, I caught it.
Okay.
I caught it in the outfield. It pop up.
Okay, so how about this? We talked about our last episode. We talked about CM Punk and everything like that. Well, how about this meme floating around about, hey, let me copy your homework and I'll make it look like mine so it didn't look like I copied it. Okay, move for move.
Oh. God.
Move for move. CM Punk versus Darby Allin was a cookie cutter of Bret the Hitman Hart versus the 1-2-3 Kid. My jaw dropped. I was like, okay, maybe it's just the first move. Okay, no big deal. But it's almost like all the high spots. All the high spots that was in the match was in this match at AEW. I'm sitting there going, that could be a form of flattery. Or CM Punk going, man, I'm kind of lost. It's been 7 years. Hey, man, but I always like Bret Hitman Hart's work, and you can do the stuff that 1-2-3 Kid did. Let's just do this match over again. Nobody's going to know.
Oh yeah, ain't nobody gonna know, huh? Well, this is the reason why CM Punk is the best in the world, because he learned from the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Bret the Hitman Hart. So congratulations, Punk. You're the true mark of the Hitman, Bret Hart.
Okay. All right. We had our fun with that. Now what we're here for.
Well, when me and you decided to take this journey, we wasn't going to necessarily have a starting point all the way to the end. I mean, we're going to bounce all over the place. There's so many great topics in wrestling that me and you have talked about. And it was back in July when I was listening to Jeff Jarrett's podcast on with Conrad Thompson, My World. Yes. And it was the episode on Bash at the Beach 2000. Now, over the years, I have heard so many different variations from that story, from the WCW timeline shoot on kayfabe commentaries with Sean and Vince Russo. I have listened to Booker T had made comments on Reality of Wrestling. I have listened to 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff and Conrad, and Eric Bischoff puts on his thoughts on it. Read Hulk Hogan's book, brother, and read what he said about it. And finally, you get to hear from Jeff Jarrett's point of view, and it's amazing to me on how different all that is. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this. I'm just like, Jeff Jarrett saying, that's a damn lie. I wasn't pissed off. I was disappointed though. And hearing Booker T say, yeah, it might have been the worst day in Hogan's life, but it was the greatest day of my life. I'm the champion of the world, and I want to be the champion of the world. Now, can you dig that, sucker? And Jake, man, be Vince Russo for me. How did Vince Russo put it?
My only fault is I didn't call that son of a bitch back on Monday. Come on, Vince. Hey, he knew. He agreed to it.
Whether brother, I tell you, if it's gonna work, everyone's got to think it's an actual shoot. But as Hogan and Bischoff, would say, they didn't know, Eric was gonna go, Vince Russo was gonna go that far deep and not promo, but basically accusing of Hulk Hogan of trying to hold someone like Booker T down. And everyone's got opinions on that and everything. I mean, look, it's a business, okay? They pay Hulk Hogan a ton of money to put asses in the seats. He had creative control of his character to the point where he didn't necessarily want to be in wrestling no more. I mean, you talked about that contract he signed in 1994 where he had creative control of his character. But as Hulk Hogan put it, according to Eric Bischoff, what the fact is, as far as the creative control was concerned, Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara did not want Hulk Hogan, did not want Ric Flair, wanted to get rid of some of the older guys so they could push some of the younger talent, you know what I'm saying? But they're telling Hulk Hogan at the Bash at the Beach, when Hogan's hearing, okay, after the match with Jeff Jarrett, it's going to be a disqualification. Well, what do you got for me after that? Well, Hulk Hogan, we got nothing for you after that. And ever playing business here, you're saying you got nothing for me the next day on Monday Night Nitro.
So what is the worst thing you can tell a wrestler?
Oh, yeah, it's a red flag, thinking I'm about to be written off, So though we're not going to be written off is, well, I'm going to put my creative control, brother. I'm going to walk out with the belt tonight. You know what I'm saying? So now Vince Russo has come out with this freaking, plan, but let's make it look as real as we can get it, where Jeff Jarrett will lay down. Hogan can leave with the belt. You know what I'm saying? Booker can win it later on that night. Then Hogan come back 4 months later, say he's a true WWE champion, and they can have a champion versus champion. Oh, brother, that might work for me. But the whole point Vince was trying to do was to make sure Booker T leaves that night as a champion, then he could publicly fire Hulk Hogan and says until he's in the grave, we will never see that piece of shit in this building again.
That bald-headed piece of shit.
I bought him a piece of shit. And hey, you know what? That was the last time we saw Hulk Hogan in WCW. Hell, I wouldn't see him again until he showed up in Jimmy Hart's promotion, XWF, against that match with Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. You know what I'm saying? A year and a half later. And then we see him again in WWF in 2002 with The Rock. But before all that happened, you know, I gotta be honest, man. And then you know, I'm gonna give you a chance to comment just a second here, but I'm gonna touch on what Jeff Jarrett had said, that Hulk Hogan on that night had the most stroke to anybody. You know, because Hulk Hogan still could have said, "No, brother, I want to wrestle Jeff Jarrett. I want to have a match with Jeff Jarrett." And in fact, there's something that even I didn't even know. You know, the fact that, you know, we all know Jeff Jarrett grew up in the business. We all know who his father is, who his grandmother is. Jeff Jarrett's a long time fan of the business and knew Hulk Hogan way back in the day before Hulkamania, brother. You know what I'm saying? So he idolized Hulk Hogan. So here you are, now you're the world champion. You get a chance to work with a guy, you know, who you idolize, and he's okay with doing this stink of a finish where Jeff Jarrett will get in the ring and freaking lay down. Just insult your audience, insult your fans. Like, what the hell are you freaking doing? And Hogan's cool with it. And Jeff Jarrett could have said, "No, it doesn't work for me, brother. I'm having this match with Jeff Jarrett tonight." You know, because if Hogan wanted to wrestle, Hogan had all the cards that night. He has creative control, could wrestle. After that night, and Brad Siegel, as Vince Russo would say, Brad Siegel wanted to fire Hogan, supposedly, whether it's true or not true. You know what I'm saying? He would have had that creative control to her, but that particular night. So if Hogan really wanted to, it wouldn't have been a lay down of a finish, you know. So who do you put the blame on? You know, I mean, I appreciate the fact that, you know, everyone kind of takes their own kind of blame about it, but I don't know. You know, what's your take on it, Jay?
Hogan was protecting his character, his wrestling, his moneymaker standpoint. Hey, if I'm not getting booked, I can't be on these pay-per-views where I'm making money, you know, more money. You know, you got nothing for me after the bash. I'm going to win. I'm going to take the title. That way, hey, you're going to have to bring the champion back. So you'll have something for me. You know, I can see where Jarrett would take that as like, you wanted to take this as a Smosh finish because he grew up in the business. He was a promoter's son and promoter and everything like that. From a promoter standpoint, that's suicide. You know, you're going to lay down the belt. People paid hard-earned money to see Hulk Hogan versus Jeff Jarrett for the world title. And you're not getting that. You're getting this rouge of a match. Hogan walks out with the title. Now, how are you going to spin all this stuff back around for the title match between Jeff Jarrett and Booker T? You know, I can see why Jeff Jarrett took that as a disgusted insult, because it wasn't just the fact is, oh, Hogan's trying to do something to protect his image, but he also took that as he didn't want to work with me. And I can kind of see that and go, wow, that is pretty messed up. You know, you don't want to work a guy like Jeff Jarrett, you know, that his father had you in his promotion and everything like that. I mean, Hogan, yeah, like you said, Hogan had all the cards that night. He held all the cards. If he wanted to wrestle, there would have been a wrestling match for the world title between Hogan and Jeff Jarrett. And then Bischoff could have said, okay, that's it. You know, Hogan walked out, and then go on into saying Jeff Jarrett, the championship is going to be held up between Jeff Jarrett and Booker T later tonight. You know, that was Hogan's farewell match, farewell tour, you know, and they could have spun a storyline on it, maybe, you know. But at the same time, man, we've already had the finger poke of doom. And now we're turning around and we're laying down. And on a pay-per-view, in front of a paying crowd, people paying to buy the pay-per-view to see this match, disappointed. I didn't get to see that.
Third time. This was the third time. I didn't think about this until now. I'm sitting there thinking about this. This is the third time Hulk Hogan's been in a situation where someone's laid down. Go back to finger poking to Kevin Nash. Tut, boom, backbone.
That was one.
What the hell? That's for the second one. Same year, okay? 1999. Halloween Havoc, 1999. Sting versus Hogan. The return match from Fall Brawl 99. Sting's the defending world heavyweight champion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hogan gets out of the ring in street clothes. And we're like, okay, what's going on? The street clothes, gets in the ring, just kind of lays right down. Sting just kind of, okay, goes to cover him. Referee counts a 1, 2, 3. Hogan gets up, walks out of the ring, just leave. And Sting is kind of like, what the hell? Okay, what did we just see right here? The announcers were all confused and golly,
Well,
I'm watching.
yeah,
I
that
have
was
a paper.
three that Hogan was a part of.
No,
Keep
no,
in
no,
mind,
but
remember,
hold on. Then a year later, Hulk Hogan does the same thing with Jeff Jarrett of the situation, and he's cool with it. Like, hey, Hulk, Mr. Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, whatever you call yourself. Okay, if it stunk up in January 4th, 1999, it stunk up in October and Halloween Havoc 99. Why the hell would you think of me? Oh, yeah, this would be good, brother. The exact same damn thing in July of 2000. I mean, seriously, you
yep.
know?
Yeah, well, also too in that time frame, somewhere in that ballpark, you had Kevin Nash dropping the belt to Ric Flair, pretty much giving Ric Flair the world title.
Well, I'm talking about when Hogan was involved. Hogan had
Yeah, but
Hogan
within a year, within about a year span, you had champions going out this way and coming in this way at least 4 times within a calendar year.
right.
Or real close within 18 months.
Yeah, I get all that. I get what you're saying, but my point was Hogan was in control of all three of those matches that he personally was involved in. He had Nash lay down, they had Jeff Jarrett lay down, then he himself lay down the Sting, and it's almost like, what the hell are we doing here? I don't understand the thought process.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with Sting. I know what the deal was with Nash. That was we got you, blah 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 blah. Where the NWO was together all along, and their big coup was getting Lex Luger. Okay,
we're diving the finger poke of doom another time. I don't want to dive 100% into that particular angle, but the whole point was it was a storyline that had no good ending. The storyline of Book of Doom did not have a good ending. It had no damn good ending after Halloween Havoc 99. It has damn sure. What's gonna be the payoff? What are you doing here, Vince Russo?
There's no payoff. You didn't have a match,
and then no payoff. It was stupid.
Hogan never came back after this. There was no payoff. You had Booker T beat Jeff Jarrett, which, hey, that's great for Booker. They had a decent match at Bash at the Beach 2000. They
had a great match. I mean, I guess we're trying to redeem the world title, if you would. And it goes back to the so-called promo Vince Russo cut. How Mr. Politic Hulk Hogan, who wants to try to politic his way, acting his creative control. I mean, really trying to expose the business already more than what it is. I mean, you're insulting the fans here. Look, dude, we know it's a freaking work, but we still want to pretend like this is real. We love what we're doing. Then you out there, my opinion, you're out there insulting us. But you're going to say Hulk Hogan was holding down Booker T. I mean, look, okay, you guys in the suits are the writers. You guys in the suits are the bookers and the promoters. You guys do the creative stuff. If anything, I blame the suits for holding back Booker T.
Yep.
I mean, I'm gonna call it like I see it. But Booker T was on the rise to get to that level. I mean, for Booker T from many times world tag team champion, 10, 11, 12 times. How many times it was world tag team champion, U.S. champion, television champion at this point.
Yep.
I mean, Booker T was the freaking man. So winning the world title, here's my thing. Okay, now I know Jeff Jarrett says that what they were asking him to do, he was going to stink up the place. He went out there and just basically shit all over everything by laying down. Then about less than an hour later, he's going to walk out there, and the last person they want to see is him. So, Jeff, I want to tell you something, man. The fans appreciated that match because if you watched the crowd that night, Jeff Jarrett versus Booker T, the crowd was into the match. I mean, we're talking about Daytona Beach, Florida. Okay, it's a big known wrestling town, especially in the South and everything. And you go back 4 years ago to 1996 when Hogan first formed the NWO. 4 years later, that crowd witnessed Goldberg beats Kevin Nash and Scott Hall's contract, who never get a contract again at that point. NWO is pretty much tarnished, gone, destroyed, dead in WCW. You know what I'm saying? Then Hulk Hogan, obviously just got destroyed by Vince Russo, but now we're going to see a great match between Booker T versus Jeff Jarrett. And when Booker T finally hit the bookend, his version of the rock bottom, whatever you want to call it, the bookend, the crowd erupted. They erupted for Booker T. Maybe we're going to see something different. Maybe it was time for a change. they just kind of went about it the wrong way, in my opinion. But at the same time, giving Booker T that opportunity and him becoming the world champion. I mean, even I'm sitting at home watching the pay-per-view. I'm kind of like, you got to be kidding me, man. I want to see Hogan versus Jeff Jarrett, some of the other matches, and then hell, Booker T had a match with Chris Canyon that night, and Booker T lost. I think people. How does he get a world title shot? I mean, you lose a match, but don't worry, you're still gonna be the main event.
But that was Hogan holding down Booker T.
Yeah, that's Hogan holding down Booker T.
Hogan didn't book the whole card, genius.
Oh, he did. Yeah, exactly, genius. I like how you said that. But I mean, it sucked, man. It was crap like that. Just let the bad taste in your mouth for WCW. It's almost like even then, I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And then I'll go back to Kevin Nash versus Ric Flair. Nash goes there, powerbomb Jeff Jarrett, pins at 1, 2, 3. They get to the microphone. Ric Flair, last week you beat Jeff Jarrett. You really are the world heavyweight champion. You've earned it. You won it. So I'm here to hand you the belt. And he handed Flair the belt. And of course, later on that night, Jeff Jarrett gets the belt back. I mean, it's almost like Vince Russo pissed on every former world champion that there is. And it just the whole micro of the heavyweight title, and even Hulk Hogan too, for that matter, which makes me really, really disappointed. I mean, it could have been good for business if you followed through with the storyline. And Jay, I want your opinion on this, because I've heard Eric Bischoff say this about Vince Russo all the damn time. He'll have a good idea. Okay, Vince, that sounds good, but where are we going from here? Well, I don't know yet, bro, but it sounds good right now. Yeah, you know how to start a story. You know how to light a spark. It's like you forget where the gasoline is to get a good explosion and see what direction it's going to go. It's like you know how to start a story, like you get lost in the middle and the end. And that's why the storyline sucked in WCW. I mean, I don't care what you say. I don't care what anybody says for that matter. I mean, this is just like, dug WCW's grave. You done laid WCW in the ground between July all the way to the end. They're just covering it up with dirt.
Yep. With a few little minor explosions here and there along the way.
Disgusted with the product. With the exception now, I was excited to see Booker T with the World Heavyweight title. And the run that he's had great matches with Kevin Nash. He had some great matches with Scott Steiner. I mean, hell, you could do a whole damn series of a rivalry between Booker T and Scott Steiner if you go back from the Harlem Heat versus the Steiner brothers. And the tag teams break up, and then they had some one-on-one matches. They feuded for the U.S. title and world title and tag team titles. That was a great rivalry that came out of WCW.
That's right.
That did came out of WCW toward the end, the last couple of years. I mean, I don't know, man, but Bash the Beast 2000 did let the I had sore taste in my mouth. But at the same time, I don't blame Jeff Jarrett no more. I'm sitting there thinking, Jeff, why would you ever agree to this? Well, I guess because you're in a contract, you're told you had to.
Right.
Hogan did have the final say, all right, if this is what y'all want,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there for a while he was debating. He even said on his podcast that he was debating whether to actually go through with it. And because it made him sick to his stomach. Oh, hey, you'd hear Vince Russo talk. Yeah, I'd never seen Jeff Jarrett more pissed off in my life. He wasn't pissed off. He was disappointed. He was disgusted. And I get that standpoint. It's like, look, I came here to wrestle Hogan for the world title, win, lose, or draw. Give the fans what they paid to see. And then if we still wanted to find a way to get the belt on Booker at the end of the night, then we'll figure it out from there. But but I heard so many stories on how that was pretty much politicked all the way up till Showtime, and the story had changed on how they were going to do it. Jarrett didn't find out about it to the day of. Apparently, other people knew. I think Booker T said he knew about a week out that he was going to become world champion.
Yeah, about 5 days out, if I heard him correctly.
Yeah.
I heard him bringing out to David Pinger on his podcast. He claimed he knew about it. Jeff Jarrett found that funny to believe.
Yeah, that's a damn lie.
Me and you both been in the wrestling business for close to 20 years on the indie circuit here in the CSRA. Now, do you find it odd when I hear, Booker T and Jeff Jarrett and they're talking, oh yeah, man, we done did this in WCW, we done did that in TNA, but we never really talked about Bash Beach 2000. And here Jeff Jarrett says he already had a conversation with anybody about this particular angle and this and that. I've heard Booker say it. I mean, I've heard some other people sit there and say it. How much of this do you really believe? What, like guys don't talk about at work? I mean, let's face it. I mean, I go to jobs, the bullshit things happen at work. Someone's going to talk about it, Work, maybe some things.
Some of your fellow guys that you're close to are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Say, hey, man, hey, let's go off. Let's talk. I got to blow off some steam or whatever.
Hey, let's go to the bar. Or, hey, we're on a road trip.
We're on a road trip. Hey, I'm riding with so-and-so on the way to the next town.
Yeah, I'm leaving Daytona, running away to Jacksonville, or rolling to Atlanta, whichever. Damn, man, did you see what happened tonight? Yeah, man, that's some fucked up shit.
I can't count how many times, like, heck, me, Don, and everybody like that, or Night Stalker, or whatever else would be in a car ride, and we talk about, man, did you see some of that shit that they were having us do? What kind of sense does this make? You're going to put a non-wrestler in a ring with Rick Steiner. Because that's the sponsor's son. The sponsor wanted his son to work Rick Steiner. Hadn't learned how to properly do a damn bump. We were teaching him the day of, and he was supposed to take it. And Rick's like, okay, well, how far along is he? And we showed him how he took a clothesline. He kept wanting to put his arms up to protect his face and whatever else. Rick turned around and walked away, said, I ain't getting a ring with him. And Rick was a pretty cool guy, he'd do, it didn't matter if the guy was a little green, but you throwing that arm up, that'll hurt him, and not only hurt him, hurt you in the process. He's like, no, I'm not getting in a ring with him. I don't think they ever actually stepped foot in the ring with each other in that 6-man tag, but we're sitting there going, I'm sorry, even if a sponsor did agree to bring somebody in, if your son had no business really being in the ring, and say, hey, can I get somebody to work with my son until we do the story angle? That way he knows what to do in the ring. But I wasn't done. So, yeah, we talked about that. Hey, I think we talked about that jokingly about 2 or 3 weeks ago, to come as a matter of fact. So, right. Wrestlers do talk, but I don't know if Jeff Jarrett and Booker were on that level.
Maybe, I mean, not everybody's a mark for themselves, I guess. I mean, some people say like some people get off the clock. They don't want to talk about work. They just don't know. Right. And to them, it's just another day at the office, man. Just a shitty day at the office. We'll go down the next town, do the next thing, and do something else. I mean, it's debated upon, I'm sure, but I don't know. I mean, obviously, it made some kind of impact in wrestling and how horrible and terrible it was. Obviously, 20, 21 years later, we're here talking about it today.
Yeah, a perfect example of what not to do in pro wrestling.
Yeah, don't insult your audience. But I was, again, at the same time, the live audience that was there did accept the Booker T, and it was a great matchup, great battle, back and forth. I mean, I love all the finishes. I love the guitar shots. I mean, Booker and Jarrett were pretty damn good, and Booker T was deserving. It wasn't like, no disrespect to Bill Goldberg. It's not like Bill Goldberg. It's kind of like you, Jay. You walked in the damn door in the sheriff department right off the bat. You're now the captain. You're the shift leader. You're running the damn shift, and you only been there 6 months.
And I'm still having to get walked through on how to do my damn job.
Yeah, you have sergeant lieutenants telling you how to do their job, walking you every step of the way, but you're now the captain of the ship. And that's just how it was for Bill Goldberg. Like I said, no disrespect to Bill Goldberg, great athlete and everything, but he practically walked in the damn door and everything was just handed to him. I mean, great, yeah, he wasn't going to say no to it. I mean, yeah, but someone like Booker T, which, I saw him debut with Harlem Heat in 1993. I remember it's the first pay-per-view I saw him in, Fall Brawl 93, the War Games. And it was Booker T that was in the hands of the Shock Master. And that big old bear hug. And Booker T was like, yeah, I give, And I've been following Booker T ever since then. And they've had some great tag team matches over the years, especially my favorite rivalry Harlem Heat's ever had was with the Nasty Boys in 1995. And then, my God, from Starrcade 94, the Super Brawl 95, Slam Bridge 95, into Bash the Beach 95. The Nasties and the Nasty Boys of Harlem Heat had some great battles in the ring. You know, with Booker T, like I said, man, I mean, look what he did. Look what Booker T did in 1998, you know, that TV championship. You know, he won the TV title. He lost it to Rick Martel, then wins it back on the same night. Not only did he win it back from Rick Martel, but successfully defended against Perry Saturn. You know what I'm saying? Booker T brought out the man. And the rivalry he had with Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit that same year in 1998.
Best of 7 series.
Yeah, the best of 7 series. And matching with Eddie Guerrero and Uncensored. And he had some good pay-per-view matches at Spring Stampede before the 7 match series. When it was all said and done, you know, Booker T ended up winning it, man. I mean, you know, Booker T has earned his right, in my opinion. He probably should have gotten a belt in '99, but again, at the same time, I can understand why it didn't happen. But at the same time, he was long overdue. You know, I think if Booker T had won the belt at '99, you know, I don't know. I think, you know, the company could have turned around. You know, in hindsight, we'll never know. You know, but you know, him winning it in 2000, I was happy as a fan. My only question is now, what were they going to do with him as champion? You know, and Vince Rose's ideas, trying to make him so much like The Rock. And I mean, come on, man. Why couldn't Booker T just be Booker T? You know what I'm saying? That's my question to Vince Russo.
Well, they tried to turn Booker T into The Rock. They tried to turn Scott Steiner into Triple H.
Wow. Stupid, man.
Because I made these guys and stuff like that. And see, okay, Vince might have had some pretty good storyline ideas, but he had a guy like Vince McMahon reining him in. He didn't have a guy like Vince McMahon reining him in WCW. And so, again, you know, I go with, okay, I can kind of see where Bischoff was going with the whole, yeah, he'd have a good start to a story, but he didn't have a follow through. Well, where do you go from there? Well, I don't know. I'm still working on it.
I know, right?
Okay, well, a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know, you got to know where you're going, you know, and I get that. I get that from Bischoff's standpoint, you know, and matter of fact, when they brought Bischoff back, it was to kind of help rein in Russo, which had left and come back. And they still weren't on the same page. You know, I mean, Bischoff was pretty much looking out for Hogan's interest at that time, and I don't think Bischoff came back after the whole Bash at the Beach 2000.
He was disgusted, pissed off. He felt like Vince Russo tried to stab him in the back. So, because I mean, he had a meeting with Brad Siegel, and from what I'm told, Brad Siegel kind of leaned toward Vince Russo a little bit, and so Bischoff's okay, no problem, I'm going home. I mean, and Eric Bischoff, he didn't care. He was getting his damn paycheck. You know, I mean, that year the company went $88 million in debt. Damn,
that's crazy to think about.
It's crazy to think about.
$84 million in debt.
88 million.
Lord have mercy.
2000, the worst year in the history, probably of any pro wrestling company, as far as that goes. I mean, damn.
Well, look how many duds you had within, like I said, within 18 months. You know, you had David Arquette win the heavyweight title. You had
himself with the heavyweight title.
Yeah.
What kind of sense is that freaking make?
Be Vince McMahon, you know. Vince McMahon put the World Wrestling Federation title on him. You know, I mean, it was almost like he was. I know there was a rumor and innuendo going around that Vince sent Vince Russo down to WCW to sabotage WCW.
Before we jump into that, and people can believe what they want to believe. You know, here's the difference between Vince McMahon and Vince Russo. Vince McMahon, at the time he did get the WWF Championship, was the hottest heel in the company. I mean, let's get the devil his freaking due here. He took some serious freaking bumps, had some incredible heat with the audience. I mean, when you walk out the ring and the whole crowd's chanting, asshole, asshole. I mean, come on. And all the heat he got from Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the slightest bit turn, he could turn it around and become a baby face because people hated Triple H just as much.
Yep.
When you're heel against Vince McMahon, come on, man. The man sold Triple H and sold Vince's wife. when McMahon gets in the ring, just who the hell you think you are, you son of a bitch, and then he's in a match with Triple H. And McMahon at that point had several of fights with Austin at that point. So could Vince hold himself with Triple H? But when Stone Cold's music freaking hits and then caused Triple H to belt and Vince actually got it, I mean, damn, dude, the crowd kind of erupted. That's the difference right there. McMahon knew how to be a heel, how to be a face, and hell, it worked. And of course, what he do? He relinquished the freaking championship belt. Then there came the 6-pack challenge match at Unforgiven. It was good. It was killing the houses back then. But if we can, let's address that rumor innuendo real quick. I know you kind of touched on it. The rumor innuendo: did Vince McMahon send Vince Russo down to destroy WCW? Because it's like one of those things. If you're doing a bad job and the numbers are showing, they did it on purpose. I don't know. I don't know if it's really true. Like, how much money was McMahon paying Vince Russo? Because my question is, did Vince Russo get a job back with WWF after WCW unfolded? I don't think he did, because he went work for Jeff Jarrett with TNA's operations a year or so later. So I don't think Vince Russo was sitting down there. I know it's easy to think that way, but when you get paid so much money by Ted Turner's people to fix this mess, turn this around, you know what I'm saying? To me, it goes back to what we said earlier. Vince Russo knew how to start a story, just didn't know how to finish it. And Vince McMahon was a good editor, had smart people working in his corner. Vince Russo could start a concept, but he had people who guided Russo to get to that end. He didn't have that at WCW, Imagine the ego Vince Russo would have had and said, I helped make stars in WWF and who put Bischoff down in WCW. And then I went to WCW and I created stars to put out Vince McMahon down. I'm the true king in wrestling,
Yeah,
Obviously.
that would have been good bragging rights for him if that's what would happen.
But
yeah, so I mean, with that being said, though, yeah, if Vince was really sent down by McMahon to do it, yeah, as soon as WCW was bought out, you would have saw Vince Russo come out on stage with Vince about winning the war.
Oh yeah.
We destroyed our enemy from the inside.
Yeah. I mean, dang.
Talk about a conspiracy. By then it would have been too late. What could you have done? What could they have done at that point? WCW was already bought by McMahon.
That would have made great TV, but you would have had some people pissed off. If you imagine someone supposedly lawsuits that could have happened after that. I doubt it. But at the same time,
I mean, Time Warner and Ted Turner could have probably done something, knowing that it was sabotage.
Well, I don't think so. Only because Ted Turner been pissed off, he probably would have wanted to get back into the game. But when that merger happened with AOL with Time Warner, there's no way WCW.
His hands were tied.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I want to say this. I don't get close to the end of the show here. I want to say this real quick. Booker T had stated on his podcast that he was worried about being in Florida and Daytona and the South with the wrestling fans, except Booker T. You know what I'm saying? Well, despite the fact that Booker T did defeat Jeff Jarrett with the bookend, right? 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, no controversy. Booker T won the Delta World title. The crowd erupted. Okay, let's fast forward a decade earlier, 1991. It was supposed to have been Ric Flair versus Lex Luger inside a steel cage, Great American Bash, 1991, for the World Heavyweight title. Well, Ric Flair has some contract disputes with Jim Herd and WCW management. Ric Flair says, I'm taking the belt, go kiss my ass, and he goes up to the WWF. Well, when the crowd was expecting to see Ric Flair versus Lex Luger for the world belt, not Barry Windham versus Lex Luger, and that crowd turned against that match. The whole freaking match they were chanting, we want Flair, we want Flair. Now, in Hulk Hogan's home state of Florida, Did we hear that crowd when Booker T was wrestling Jarrett? Did we hear anybody screaming, "We want Hogan, we want Hogan"? Because they were
Nope,
disgusting.
not
Nope.
at all.
So Booker T, I'm here to tell you now, partner, the fans accepted you, the fans loved you, and you deserved it. And unfortunately for Luger and Barry Windham too, for that matter, it was just unfortunate. Those guys had no experience. They're trying to work a match, make the crowd happy, give them the best match they could possibly get. The entire time they're wanting somebody else. They're wanting to chant Ric Flair. That just goes to show you who really truly does have a bigger name in this business than a pro wrestling audience. Flair versus Hogan. That's all I got to say about that. And
Mm.
keep this in mind, guys. I love Hulk Hogan. I'm a Hulkamaniac. I grew up being a Hulkamaniac. He has made some piss poor decisions in his life over the last 10 years or so. And it's very, very, very sad. And I do everything I can not to let tarnish my childhood memory. But damn, brother, that's all I got to say, man. But it's tough sometimes. You sit there and you talk about some of these controversies that's happened inside the ring and outside the ring. But at the end of the day, man, look, we're all still people. We're all human beings. We all make mistakes. We all got skeletons in our closet. The only bad thing about it being on the spotlight is that you're allowing every eyeball in the world basically seeing watching what you're doing. So even if you fart wrong in the wind, people are gonna know about it, and it's just unfortunate. You know, I mean, what can you say about that, Jay?
Just think if we fast forwarded and Bash at the Beach 2000 was more like Bash at the Beach 2020, how much shit would have been said? Because we have all this internet now, we have all the social media platforms. Oh my goodness.
Crazy. It's crazy. But social media could be the downfall. And I mean, if you're not squeaky clean, you're gonna offend somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It's I don't know. Yeah, I feel like people need to have thicker skin. But at the same time, though, man, I don't. I would want to see. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, man. I want to see someone who sexually assaults, someone, be glorified as a hero, and it's tough to sit there and says, I mean, come on, man, what the hell are you freaking thinking? You know, this is one reason why I'm glad I don't drink alcohol, man. I mean, look, dude, I served in the Marine Corps. I seen a lot of freaking bad stuff that happen when guys get drunk, guys get stupid, guys get immature, guys get inappropriate. The type of stress level that we're on 24/7, And then look, man, I'm not trying to criticize no one's profession, but if you're living out your dream job, you're in the W freaking WF, WWE, whatever hell you want to call it, and you're making tons of money, you're flying all over the world. I mean, you're doing great things and everything. You know, what's wrong with acting? Being held accountable for your actions, acting accordingly. I don't get certain things, man. I just don't. But Jay, you know what though? At the same time, I'm glad we're doing this show because I just want to be able to go back and watch a wrestling show and just watch wrestling. Who gives two flying flips what happens behind the damn camera sometimes, man? Because look, man, when we watch wrestling, when you watch a horror movie, when you watch a comedy sitcom, when you watch a baseball game, a college football game, a Major League Baseball game, man, we watch this stuff so we can escape from our lives, get away from any kind of personal trouble. I mean, we want to be entertained. We want to be able to cheer and love. Who cares about the damn gossiping crap? Well, damn, Bill, you're a freaking hypocrite. You're talking about freaking doing shit on their podcast. Well, you know what, though? We're talking about things that we love. And this is professional wrestling. We love WCW. The memory of WCW will always be alive in my heart. I know will be in your heart. And hell, I love TNA. I love WWE. Love Ring of Honor. Love ECW. I love Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I love NWA. Dude, I love professional wrestling. And I love boxing. And dude, I'm going to talk about it because this is what we do. We're having fun doing this damn thing. And we're going to roll the next 30 plus years from now. We'll still be talking about this great sport of professional wrestling. Tell me if I'm wrong. Hey, I'm shooting hard tonight, ain't I?
Yeah, you are. But no, you ain't wrong.
This podcast is like Dr. Pepper. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper.
So you are under the influence.
Oh, DP, brother.
That's it. So, yeah, man, you were preaching there for a little bit.
A little long-winded tonight, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm just
Hey,
letting.
no, you're good. Last time I checked, we really, truly didn't have it on time limit unless something we invoked ourselves. But hey, we can push that envelope if we choose to. It's our show. So,
Right.
so
Hey, closing arguments? Go ahead, man. Let it ride. I said what I had to say.
So Vince's whole thing, Vince Russo, when I say Vince in this aspect, because we're not really talking about McMahon here. When Vince said that Seeger did not really want Hulk because they couldn't afford Hulk, and when he told him, they said, "I call Hogan on Monday." I said, I told Hogan I'd call him on Monday with details on how we move forward. Seeger told him, "Don't call Hogan. We can't afford him." As a man, you're in a business, a lot of, hey, I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to freaking do it. But at the same time, hey, Vince was looking at it. I'm trying to keep my job. The boss, the suits, if you will, didn't want me to call Hulk, so I didn't call Hulk. He said that was the biggest mistake that he made. It was not calling Hogan out of the whole thing. He should have called him anyway. But the damage was already done. You've already raked him over the coals in front of a live audience on pay-per-view, burying Hogan to the point where you had a civil lawsuit for defamation of character, which,
That's right.
which, hey, Hogan's not wrong in that,
No,
because,
absolutely.
hey, man, you just destroyed my livelihood. And it wasn't like, hey, you know what, Hulk, I love you. I would love to keep you here, but Seeger says we can't afford you anymore. That would have put the heat off of me and onto the suits.
It didn't have to go down like that, and that's
No.
it's almost like this man is not, it's like people forgotten who defeated the Iron Sheik, who body slammed Andre the Giant, man, who waved the American flag against Sergeant Slaughter, who drew one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time, and then Mega Powers Explode. I mean, Hulk Hogan is a worldwide name in sports entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Don't tarnish the man's reputation like that, man. Man, guys like Vince Russo like that trying to destroy someone who gave so much to this business, who made sure guys had jobs.
If it wasn't for him not calling him on Monday, if he'd have called him on Monday, say, hey, we got to work out this angle. We got to get you back on. We got to get you to where me and you had this feud, and it could have been like, I don't know, Vince McMahon and Stone Cold, isk, where it's Hulk versus, but there was no payoff at the end of it. There was Hogan went home, sued the company. That was the last you saw of him in WCW.
You really think people would pay a lot of money to see Hulk Hogan kick Vince Russo's ass?
I probably wouldn't.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, hell, before Austin and McMahon, you had Larry Zbyszko and Eric Bischoff. I mean, Bischoff had some heat, man, and people must obviously appreciate Larry Zbyszko's commentary, because when Zbyszko got in the ring in Washington, D.C., Starrcade 97, man, they were chanting. That was one of the biggest ovations Larry had, man.
Larry.
Come on, and I mean, hell, I guess it could have worked, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd have been more happy seeing Hogan versus Booker T, and maybe Hogan doing the right thing, passing the torch to Booker. They probably could have done some good matches.
Look, hey, we can't afford to keep paying you, but Hulk, this is our idea. To let you go out on a high note, pass the torch to Booker, and say, okay, well, that was at Bash at the Beach when all this stuff happened. Let's say by Halloween Havoc, we'll have the big payoff, you versus Booker, to declare the real world's heavyweight champion, and you do the favors to Book.
I would have ended that match like this, plain and simple. I could see Booker T hitting the bookend. I could see Hulk Hogan kicking out. He's hulking up, waving a finger. That 3 punches, the big boot. Hogan goes for the leg drop. Booker rolls out of the way. Boom. Then Booker T does the spin-a-rooney back to his feet. And as Hogan rolls over, trying to get back to his feet, holding his hip, missing the leg drop, Booker T hits that single kick to the back of the head. Boom. Roll him over. 1, 2, 3. Boom. That would have made history right there. And I can just picture Hogan missing the leg drop. Then Booker T does that spin-a-rooney. Whoosh. As he did it, crowd get ups. And Hogan trying to get back to his feet, a perfect position for the back of the head scissor leg kick. Pow!
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, man. Place would have erupted. That would have done good business right there.
And Hulk get up, shake the man's hand like he did with The Rock at WrestleMania 18, and that would have been a good send-off. Hulk wouldn't have been defamation of character. You only had to bring him back from one more pay-per-view, probably a couple of shows before then on TV to build up the match at Halloween Havoc. And then that would have been it. Halloween Havoc 2000 would have been the last time you would have saw Hulk Hogan in WCW.
I know. That would have been a good send-up. That's how I would have done it. But the question is, what did Hulk Hogan say? Now, right, we won't know for sure. But do you think, in your opinion, as far as business goes, would Hogan say, that doesn't work for me, brother? I need to go over, brother. I need the belt, brother. I need merchandise sales, brother. I'm on top of the world champion. People are going to pay money, brother. The man had an ego, man. You can't deny that. I mean, dang.
No, and not only that, but he was looking, hey, this is my livelihood. This is how I get paid. I mean, Grant, yeah, he was already getting a contract for being under contract, but he's also getting money for every appearance and every pay-per-view he was on.
Oh, yeah.
Extra. So he was making bank, and dude, if it would have been presented right and said there, look, Hulk, we can't afford to keep paying you, but this is what I suggest. You go out on a high note and everything like that. Do the favors for Booker, pass the torch, and hopefully when we get back on our feet, we can get you back in as a draw again.
See, this is where I call bullshit. Here. I really don't believe, because all these guys had all these multi-million-dollar contracts. I don't believe the word came from Brad Siegel. Hey, we're going to fire Hulk Hogan, can't afford him no more. I truly believe that Vince Russo and Ed Farrar had a plan of getting rid of the million-dollar talent, getting rid of those, guys that are over 40, so get a younger talent to push. I'm pretty sure Vince Russo telling Seeger, look, I don't want Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan don't want to do business. I don't like Hulk Hogan. I want to get this guy off of business. And Brian says, okay. All right, if he's not,
because it would make sense to look, I can't do nothing with Hogan. He holds all the cards.
Yeah, exactly. He could be bad-mouthing Hogan and Brad Siegel, and and
Brad said, all right, we'll screw him.
And Brad Siegel was already pissed off at Eric Bischoff because they were going down in flames in '99 when they let Bischoff go. So at this point, okay, Bischoff wasn't quite doing what he's supposed to be doing in '99. Well, let's give Vince Russo a chance. All right, Vince Russo, we're going to go with your ideas. We'll go get rid of Hulk Hogan. It takes somewhat heat off Vince Russo, because technically Brad Siegel would have had a final decision other than Ted Turner. But, I still feel like if Hogan knew exactly what was going on, if Eric Bischoff had paid a little bit of attention to exactly what Vince Russo was trying to do, not only talk to Brad Siegel, I would be on that phone with Ted Turner, trying to make some things go. Because that point in time, the merger hadn't quite happened just yet. Ted Turner still has his stroke. But it was slipping through his fingers the most, I mean, again, politics, man. I hate it, man. It's a disgrace to this great country, man, and it ruined WCW, man, and it definitely put a damper on the NWA. I know we're going to talk about it, Jay, at a later date, but one of the sad things when WCW ended, I want to appreciate Jeff Jarrett for bringing the NWA name back and bringing it with TNA. It almost make it sound like WCW was still alive to a certain degree. I mean, what WCW was supposed to be before all these stupid suits get in there and just try to ruin the reputation of it, man. Because WCW, in my opinion, was known to have great wrestling. Vince McMahon might have had great storylines and and great sports entertainment and the drama. That was cool. But to me, WCW was known for having great Wrestling. The Steiners versus Doom. You know what I'm saying? Sting versus Flair. Ricky Steamboat versus Flair. I mean, matches like that were, Lex Luger versus Stan the Laird Hansen. Tuco Scorpio versus Chris Benoit.
Tully Blanchard and freaking Magnum TA,
Oh, it was known for having matches like that where it had more realism to it, a real super fight, and that's what I love about professional wrestling. Nothing against stuff like what the Undertaker does. I'm a big fan of him, but to me that was I call that theater wrestling. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna turn the lights off and Undertaker comes out to the ring. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have purple smoke and he's gonna rise from the heaven after defeat. You know what I mean? That's good theater stuff and great drama, great TV. It's exciting. But sometimes I look down and hear Michael Buffer say, "Let's get ready to rumble. This is the World Heavyweight Championship," and I really get into the hype. What's going to happen when Ric Flair goes one-on-one with Ravishing Rick Rude for the big gold belt at Fall Brawl 1993? When I see matches like that, my God, I get all hungry and fired up. Let's go tear the house down, dude. I mean, that's what I miss about WCW. And in Vince Russo's era, I didn't see no kind of bullshit like that. The closest thing I got was, hell, Booker T and Jeff Jarrett, man, because they did tore the house down. And they deserve all the credit they can get from that clusterfuck that they did earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Russo shouldn't get that honor that for putting the match together. That was all them, Jarrett went in there having his doubts. It's like, are you sure the fans are going to want to even see me after this? But I think by then the fans were kind of smart enough to know that, it wasn't Jarrett's fault, But Jarrett came out and kicked ass in that main event with Booker T.
Sure
he wrestled his heart out.
Damn straight they did. But man, I think we're almost out of time here for this particular week. But fans, thanks for joining in with us. Next week, pay attention to this one. Next week, Halloween is coming up. We're going to be playing one of our favorite archive shows when We Love Wrestling, which will now be coming on to Shootout Pro Wrestling. Some of the greatest and spookiest of all horrors there is. From Halloween Havoc to Hell in a Cell, we're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about Hulk Hogan and the Giant, Halloween Havoc 1995, all the scariest things that could have happened in Hell in a Cell, the spin the wheel, make the deal. I mean, it's going to be a really cool Halloween Havoc show, and I hope you guys enjoy it for our new audience here and our new family with Shootout Pro Wrestling. Now coming on Def Lot Productions, and I don't know, man, it could be on TNB Studios. Have you talked to Chris at all?
Briefly, but he's busy putting up our archives right now as far as AWF goes.
Well, stay tuned. He could be on TNB Studios. Hell, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what's going on with that. But you will be watching and you will be listening to Shootout Pro Wrestling coming back to on Def Lot Productions, and we'll be announcing very, very soon on when it's going to be on iTunes Radio, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. It's going to be out there. So click it and enjoy it. And hey, man, this discussion is for everybody. And all the great wrestling chat groups that I'm a part of, man. Hey, guys, you guys want to comment in any kind of questions, any kind of topic, email me at sopawf@gmail.com. Message us on Facebook on the Shootout Pro Wrestling page. Let us know what you think. And, hey, man, we appreciate anybody's help in the show. But one of the topics we will be discussing after the Halloween episode, Royal Rumble 1991, and a very, very controversial decision between the Ultimate Warrior and Sergeant Slaughter and the whole Gulf War situation. We all know when that match took place in our, the United States have already begun the attack against Iraq and Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait, and the whole Gulf War situation. Very, very, very bad. It wasn't the right thing to do or not. We're going to touch base on that. We're going to hear from Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson on their comments on the whole situation, whether it's the right thing, whether it's not. Myself and Christian Fury, we're going to react to that situation that they had on something to wrestle with. And I got to tell you what, man, I'm looking forward to it, Jay.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait to dive into these topics, man. Relive some of the stuff. Because we love wrestling.
They love wrestling. Amen to that. Well, that being said, I'm Survivor of Pain, Bill Blanchard, along with my co-host Christian Fury. And wrestling fans, so until next time, so long for now.